Welcome to the Resonant Life podcast. I'm Dr. Leila Doolittle, and I'm thrilled to invite you on a transformative journey into the world of functional health and quantum wellness. This podcast is designed to inspire, empower, and guide you as we explore how to achieve optimal health, not just through physical health healing, but by aligning with the deepest, most resonant aspects of your being. In each episode, we dive into cutting-edge science, ancient wisdom, and practical tools to unlock the root causes of your health concerns, transforming them into opportunities for growth, resilience, and abundant wellness. You'll discover insights from quantum medicine, neuroscience, bioenergetics, and more, all crafted to help you live a life that resonates with your highest potential. Join me as we unpack powerful strategies for optimizing your body, mind, and soul, and offer actionable steps to bring greater balance, joy, and vitality into your everyday life. Whether you're seeking to understand the connection between your health and your purpose, or you're ready to experience profound shifts in your well-being, the Resonant Life podcast is your space to connect, heal, and thrive. Let's embark on this journey of health and resonance together. Today, I am honored to welcome Chris Buchanan into this episode of the Resonant Life podcast. Chris is our functional medicine certified health coach at Resonance Wellness, whose unique journey from aerospace engineering to functional health coaching defines his innovative approach to wellness. Chris's transition from a scientific career in aerospace engineering to functional health coaching was fueled by his personal health challenges and a deep desire to understand the mechanistic workings of our inner and outer worlds. As a certified health coach from the Institute of Functional Medicine, Chris expertly blends his analytical skills with a wholesome and functional understanding of health and wellness. His scientific background provides a unique perspective, allowing him to approach health coaching with an analytical eye and a compassionate heart. Chris's approach to health coaching is deeply rooted in mindfulness, healthy habits, and lifestyle choices, while always staying true to the pillars of health from a foundational perspective. He provides his clients with tailored techniques and protocols that resonate with their unique needs. Chris's mission is to empower his clients to build a strong foundation for optimal health and wellness and to embrace their authentic healing power. Through his guidance, clients learn to thrive in every aspect of their health, embracing a life of intention and purpose. His coaching style is not just about addressing health concerns. It's about inspiring a transformative journey towards a balanced and fulfilling life. With his profound insights into the science of health and his empathetic approach to coaching, Chris Buchanan is an invaluable asset at Resonance Wellness. He is committed to helping clients navigate their health journeys, empowering them to achieve a state of optimal health and wellness that they might have once thought unattainable. Chris Buchanan has a rare gift. He turns complex health concepts into relatable analogies with a touch of humor, lighting up our journey to wellness. His words aren't just explanations, they are sparks of insight, guiding us to discover our authentic selves. With Chris, every health challenge becomes an opportunity to unearth our inner strength, and he masterfully blends laughter with learning. In his presence, we don't just find health, we find joy and true resilience that lies within us all. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. As you mentioned, we have been working together for a few years, and I did meet you as a patient. So it's safe to say we've been having conversations probably very similar to this for a very long time. And I'm thrilled that we get to record it and put it out for other people to, be a fly on the wall for.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited for this. So let's start out first by asking a little bit about your unique journey that led you to this. So how is your non-conventional medicine background, how has it shaped your approach to health coaching, and how does it offer a fresh perspective compared to the traditional healthcare model?
Woo, you're going to hit the ground running with that one, huh? So, hey, Chris, why is it good that you're not a trained doctor? Let's go with it. Yeah. So as you mentioned, my background is it's in engineering. So I was an aerospace engineer. I was a defense contractor for 12 years, working on different programs, different assets, different airplanes ultimately. And that led me to become very pragmatic and solutions oriented. I mean, you have to be in that world.
Yes.
So if it doesn't work, I don't do it. The option to completely replace it and start from scratch is also always an option. And that attitude really applies to medicine, the critical thinking aspect, every problem is a little bit unique. You can certainly stand on the shoulders of other problems you've solved before, but doing it slightly differently each time, depending on the problem, really does apply to people as well. So let's also go ahead and add in the fact that I don't have to toe the line. I don't have to preach what a certain institution says or a three-letter acronym association is pushing, whatever agendas are out there. And also, I don't have any dogma from medical school. I think people tend to take on a bit of dogma when they go through the motions there. And although it was well intentioned at the beginning, they're very smart people. You read the wrong textbook from the 80s or 90s that doesn't apply anymore, and you're in trouble. So that constant need to learn and be on the forefront of what I say learning, but relearning about the human body that we didn't even realize we were taking care of before have been major assets to me in helping people truly get to root causes, or at least go upstream. And we can get into maybe the upstream metaphor later. I know you enjoy some of the metaphors I throw out there.
Yes, I love it. Wow. And I have been so amazed with our conversations throughout the years, because the intelligence that you bring from your perspectives and how you're thinking about things, it really is like a perfect balance between almost like the engineering side of things and how can we create an infrastructure in our thinking and our philosophy that then we stand on as a platform, that then we are able to act and interact and express ourselves in a way that is more true and intrinsic, rather than something from this external world that we're using and creating our philosophies with. And so I really love that about like some of the deeper meaning in your work and how you're interacting with clients and inspiring them to have that greater impact in their own life, and then on those around them, on their community. And they're inspiring so many others with that unique perspective that you're helping them to align with.
Yeah, and also teaching people to kind of step back and look at all the variables. I think we've all been kind of, I don't want to say brainwashed, but like we're very used to saying, oh, my knee hurts, it's a physical problem, I need to go see a knee specialist right now. And gosh, we don't have enough time to talk about how many things could be affecting the knee, or could be helping support you, repairing your own knee, because your body wants to heal. The key is getting out of its way, or giving it the raw materials to do so. So there's a little bit of that. If you don't mind, I was going to mention something that I thought of while you were asking me about the background. It's kind of spooky how my previous world as an engineer has translated so well into the medical field. Should I go for it?
Yes, please.
So a little more about my job when I was an engineer is I was a part of the material review board. I would assess problems found on assets or airplanes, and then come up with a repair plan, and then work with the mechanics to make sure it got carried out, that until taking measurements, and then writing up the repair, getting it approved by the FAA, blah, blah, blah. What normally happened is we have Boeing, Lockheed, they all come with a cookbook, we called it, for their airplanes. If you see a standard problem, here's the standard repair, right? Well, you hardly ever saw the standard problem that was in the book, the perfect hole in the middle of the panel, or whatever else. You hardly ever saw that. So you're always referencing the book, modifying that. That's why there were people there to do the job, or the mechanics wouldn't need you. And so everything was customized to the problem, because it was never a perfect problem that got a perfect solution. That applies to people. That's the Western medicine model, is they have their cookbook, they have their algorithm. You come in, you say the 4 symptoms that they're waiting for. Boom, they follow their Plinko board on what orange bottle you get, and boom. Now you're grouped, you're a number. You're grouped in with that. But each problem requires taking certain measurements and modifying what the general plan could be, absolutely, but then applying that. So it was really interesting. And also, my job required me to be very well aware of electrical issues, structural issues, flight dynamics, you name it, a generalist, right? Not a specialist. That plays right back into what I just said. It's just, isn't that interesting?
Is such a great perspective. I love that. And that is exactly the reason why we have to create a personalized approach, that it's not just about the health protocol that is unique and specific to the individual, but it's also about how is that applied and how is that integrated into their lives, and how are they able to upgrade themselves and upgrade their lifestyle and how they're showing up every single day in their life to truly embody that. And then the change is created and the impact is forevermore. They're able to shift forward in their own health journey. That's amazing. And the plane can fly beautifully and seamlessly.
Sure, yeah. We can finalize the metaphor by calling people airplanes. That's fine. But yes, to your point, and reminding people that their subjective opinion, their idea, their concerns, their questions, they also apply. They're a part of the team trying to solve the problem. Don't just hand someone what you think is a full write-up of your problem and expect them to actually get it completely right. You are always involved. Never stop being the CEO of your own healthcare.
Wow. That is beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, so that's one of the perspectives of health coaching is you're inspiring the individuals to really truly step up in their lives and to have the accountability, because sometimes we may have the inspiration and we may get a motivation for a bit, but that can also, if we don't have enough fuel behind the fire or enough of that accountability internally, then it's easy to get distracted or sidetracked from that initial state of how we were wanting to move forward in our lives and progress. So health coaching is one of those ways that you're able to kind of give that extra little bit of motivation and give them an extra set of courage whenever they need to show up in bigger, better ways each day and continue up leveling. So share a little bit more about what drew you into health coaching, and feel free to share a little bit about your journey too that led you to make such a profound and bold and courageous change in your own life to be there for so many individuals in a new way.
I think the service level response is health coaching to me was the fastest way to get my hands dirty and start helping other people. I'd already been through quite a bit of schooling and a lot of certifications for my previous career and previous life, and I was excited to help like yesterday. So leaning into health coaching after realizing what it entailed also made me realize that it was absolutely a major missing piece in my journey. I didn't have a health coach through my journey, and so it probably took 4 times as long as it needed to. I would say 7 years of chronic health, debilitating chronic health issues that are completely resolved now. A lot of scary diagnoses too that I didn't take on as a name tag and live behind. It was a snapshot. That was my Polaroid that day. Absolutely. But ultimately, yes, health coaching was the fastest way for me to get back out there and help people in this new direction. But when you mention working with people on the motivation, the accountability, the guidance, yes, that's a major missing piece sometimes, unbeknownst to people. They're relying on discipline. They're relying on just pushing through and just showing up constantly. And I think discipline can be finite. I think it can be a finite resource if you don't have the motivation and know the why or where you're going. So important to have a plan or like a goal so that it's more approachable. And then you can actually reverse engineer, see what I did there, and kind of backtrack and see what should this first step be. And this is all based on my clients' goals. At no point do I show up and give them the exercise plan, the diet plan, the stress management plan. It's all based on what they want to do. Wow. So I love comparing it to, if you remember, when you were told to write a book report on a certain book, or if you got to pick the book that you wrote a book report on. It was a big difference in attitude and probably quality of finished product. So giving people agency back and deciding where they want to start or where they want to go is so paramount. And that's at the core of what I do, is client-centered. So when I show up and say, where do we start? You're in charge. I work for you and I work with you, period. How can I help? People are you see their eyes light up. They're excited about the possibilities. And I love that. It's not, I do get a lot from it, but I want my clients to get even more. So
yes, that's beautiful. Igniting that spark and fanning the flame and helping whenever the embers get a little unstable and you just need to add a little bit more oxygen to the fire and just coax it along, grow it. And that's that profound impact that once they get to a certain level, then it's almost like an internal motivation force, because then they've tasted what it feels like to have that true embodiment of where they are most expressive and expansive. And so then it's an internal, and then you're just getting to be a part of the wellness journey after that. That's what's beautiful, is like
That's
the
right. Then
internal
you
spark
watch
to
them
guys.
walk off into the sunset with all these tools on their belt. You're right. And perfect metaphor
Yeah.
there on stoking the fires and getting the embers going.
Yes.
Because you're right. I mean, I describe it to some people as like it would be just like the idea of going to the gym. You could go once a month and work with a personal trainer and be like, oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to be doing those exercises. Or you could go 2 or 3 times a week, really get the plan under your belt, really have someone there correcting you and reminding you, hey, this is what we agreed to do. This is what you wanted to do. Like, do you need help? Let's go through the motions. And then once the fire's going, I can back up. My work is done. My work is not intended to be a lifelong, you need me. If you want to continue using it and applying it to other aspects, great. Happy to be there. But the goal of all of this is absolutely teaching people how to fish for themselves.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that's part of that, the terminology of like how you help with coaching them and teaching them how to fish for themselves, not just constantly reaching out to someone else to provide it for them and someone else to give them the directives and the steps and the health protocol or the direct sequence of exactly what is that magic pill that's going to change them. How is it that we can help them to learn these tools so that they always have this in their own tool basket? They can reach for them anytime that they need, and they understand how and when to use these resources. I love that.
And they're not, dare I say, alone during the process. They're not stuck spinning with their own self-limiting beliefs, their own negative self-talk, their own confusion. I mean, how often do people go to the doctor, get a complicated protocol that would likely work great, functional or Western medicine, but they have a question on something and they can't get it answered quickly, so they set it all aside or throw it out, and don't put it into action. But having someone to tap on the shoulder quickly or talk through something or modify part of the existing plan to get them moving again.
Right.
I mean, talk about the compound interest and, not losing any time there. I mean, it's unbelievable how close some people are to really making massive, massive change. And they've been lonely and trying to do it on their own for so long.
Wow. Absolutely. And it's part of that, like being a part of a tribe and really being understood, especially whenever it's like the veil starts lifting and people start awakening to truth and to what actually matters and means something in their lives, which oftentimes is a big root cause for health concerns in the first place. Whenever we're out of alignment with something that actually matters to us and we're just going through the motions, every day is just like routine and we fall into ruts and patterns and loops, and we aren't able to truly think for ourselves every single moment and every day in a creative way. And so feeling like we can be a part of a tribe that is more expansive in thinking, that is, awakened to what's the deeper meaning of life, what's actually our purpose, what do we want to bring to the table with every single thing that we do each day, all the energy investments, then how is it that we're going to have that camaraderie in a way that's not just the status quo? Because that's also a very lonely thing, to be like the lone wolf that's thinking from a unique way and a unique perspective and not feeling seen, heard, or understood, and just having to try to figure it out how to continue paving your own way. So finding someone else that can just cheer you on and be there with you and give you a unique perspective, maybe drop a few interesting points or perspectives every once in a while to keep the creative juices going and keep you thinking more expansively. I love that. And that's what I've seen so many times, is how you show up with your clients.
Yeah, no, I love the term tribe because it reminds me of like-minded people. And I'll tell you right now, what clients tell me, their symptoms that they're kind of hesitant to tell anyone because no one understands it, there's a real good chance I'll say, I actually know how that feels. And that takes the feeling supported aspect to the stratosphere. I mean, that's the key. Oh my gosh, someone knows what this, I thought I was the only one.
Yes.
Unfortunately, you're not. But I have walked a lot of the walk before, so I'm not just here because I read books and know smart things to say and a little bit about supplements and stress management. I'm here because I had to learn it myself too. And that's what I like to tell people is it's a lot easier to learn it from someone who's a few steps in front of you than someone who's been a master at it for 50 years. I'm very grounded. I'm very realistic. I set very achievable goals with people that they come up with, and that's based on what they're telling me. And so it's, yes, the tribe aspect is major. As soon as you start telling me your symptoms and I'm not tilting my head and saying, no, because, and I'm actually saying yes, and people go deeper and they start solving their own problems because we start, hearing the words they're saying. They truly start solving their own problems.
That is so beautiful. I love it. And that is definitely something that each one of us, whenever we have done that work and we keep on asking the right questions, answering and coming up with the solutions within our own life and walking the walk, it's you can feel it and you can resonate with it more. And that's one thing that we always try to do is hold that space from authenticity at Resonance Wellness and really just being true to ourselves, being true to what it is that we've learned in our health journey. And I think that's one thing that the Western medicine model has had a struggle with for so long, is because the dogma that is taught, it takes away the ability to think uniquely and think outside of the box and think with something that's more true and is like more true of a perspective for that client that's on the other side, rather than what could maybe be true for us. We have to truly listen and give that time and attention and energy for them to feel like they can express themselves enough to where they get to that root cause. So what it is that actually is going on is beyond just biotoxins, environmental toxins, and like which systems of the body are in dysfunction that are creating health concerns. It's like down in that deeper core. And whenever we unlock that, then everything just starts to align in a much more beautiful way.
Yeah, and I think a big thread of what you're trying to explain there is for people not to discount their own conversations with themselves.
Yes.
Don't, learn to listen to your body. Your body's talking to you every day.
Yes.
Whether
Yes,
whether it's through symptoms or feeling great, it is giving you feedback. So
yes,
don't be afraid of that. Don't try to smother it. Don't try to numb it. Don't try to ignore it. Certainly make it manageable. The goal isn't misery, but your body's talking. So start learning that language and then thinking, why would it make my neck hurt every day?
Yes.
That pain it's just a signal. It's just that your body's saying, hey, a little help here.
Right.
And you learn to react instead of respond and throw a bunch of ibuprofen at it and say, be quiet. Is this sustainable?
That's exactly right.
I think you know the answer.
Yep. Because then if the body isn't feeling heard, then it's going to start screaming those health concerns into the point that then we have big diagnoses because it wasn't being listened to, and those subtle little changes that we could have created from innate healing that happens within the body constantly, we just provide the right building blocks, help support and release whatever it is that's getting in the way of that healing. We can provide that when it's just whispering those symptoms, gently, subtly talking about the symptoms from symptoms standpoint as an information signal, then great, we are able to deter away from those diagnoses. But once it's in the state of a diagnosis and the body is screaming that it needs to be heard, then we have to start listening and actually responding in the right way. That's beautiful. And what I think about supplements and vitamins and just anything from a nutritional standpoint, anything from the outside going in, also as information. It's information and building blocks for the body to respond in a way that it can, so that it has whatever signals it needs for the receptor sites, for everything to activate it properly, for it to build the proteins, communication signals, neurotransmitters. But like everything is information coming in. So which information are we providing to the body? Is it information that the body, maybe had a little cheat meal, and that's okay as long as it can handle that? Then perfect. That's important to have a little bit of that, enjoyment in life. But what is the overall foundation of supplements and information that's going in, or of nutrition that we're fueling our body with? What are the sources of information signals, and how do we think about that from EMF standpoint and electrical and all of these other external factors and toxins that can also provide information to our body that may be confusing to us?
That was a very long but brilliant question. And I think what I took from that was that, yes, supplements are information too. So you're getting information, you're getting feedback from your body. Yes. And I do have a bone to pick with functional medicine on supplements. Sometimes the key is not adding more. Sometimes being stressed is not a deficiency in ashwagandha. Okay? Let's step back and think, what could we at least be doing from a behavior or healthy habit or the way I go about my day, or pausing for 5 minutes, or moving my body? How can I resolve this to the best ability I can with the tools at my disposal before constantly just reaching for the next pill? Are supplements useful? Are they beneficial? Are they super effective? Absolutely. They absolutely can be. But it is a supplemental aspect of what we're going after. So that's what I wanted to add to that, is the key is not always information overload. The key is stepping back. And if it takes talking to someone who's acting as the objective soundboard, whether it is a health coach or whether it's your spouse or someone you trust, sometimes just figuring out if something needs to be removed before just adding a bunch of more stuff in can be major. Sometimes that's easier. So that's what came to mind when you were explaining the information. I'm thinking this could turn into information overload. So that's a really good point.
And is the body actually capable of listening to the information coming in? Many times I have patients coming that are on so many supplement protocols from so many different practitioners, or they from their own research that they've got on Dr. Google and researched about, so they put themselves on 30 different supplements, and it's just too much information from the wrong sources. It's not from like sources that it can actually use the building blocks provided in a way that's intrinsic to the body. So there's like the intrinsic factors of even the intrinsic factors of the pillars of health, for example, like going out and being able to regulate our circadian rhythm with the rhythms of the sun, and grounding and just helping to balance out the negative ions with the ways that our own charges get built up, the ways that we're around so many different non-native types of information signals to our body. And we just have to get back to those foundations, and that can be powerful in itself, outside of so many different protocols that people can go down rabbit trails on that are extrinsic to themselves.
Absolutely. And I know we like to kind of geek out on this stuff, if you can call it geeking out on like the simple, free, universal stuff that as a species we've done, unconsciously, unknowingly for a long time, that now we kind of have to reach for and strive to do again, like you mentioned, like some of that, big light bulb in the sky action that you're mentioning. Yeah, just getting real sunlight. Yes. Putting your feet on the earth to discharge some electrons, which sounds a little woo-woo, but it's measurable all day, every day. I got a voltmeter behind me. I can show you right now. It all makes a difference, and this is free, accessible stuff to everyone that may not solve the problem, but is an absolute foundation for making everything you're doing work better. So and sometimes it's just going through the motions with someone who can remind you, hey, I don't have anything to sell you here. Here's 10 things you can do that are free that you could do today.
Yes.
If you can prioritize the time, if you can make the time, and that's a big thing. So yeah, the free universal health habits I know that's a topic we constantly circle back to, which I love talking about.
I do too. And yeah, it is. It's about making the time. And that's another unique perspective in, if you're investing your time wisely in a way that's actually feeding and fueling into that future health and well-being, then you're not going to have to spend time that you weren't planning on or budgeting into your life chasing back down health to the point that you can then be well and feel well. So it's about the energetic exchange of, where is your time invested? Like, what is it that you want to have as an outcome and a return on your investment? And are you investing it wisely? Because obviously time is the most important commodity that we all have. And we each have the opportunity to choose how our time is invested at any given time.
Yeah, yes, and I love the comparison, because it's an absolute investment. I mean, what's the quote? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes.
Like, it's the return on investment, if you want to keep it in financial terms, because sadly, whether we say unfortunately or not, people tend to know more about their retirement accounts than they do about preventative self-care. it could be saving them, I'm going to go ahead and say hundreds of thousands of dollars in the
Yes,
long run.
it
I mean,
does.
absolutely, unquestionable. And then it's kind of rhymes a little bit, but I've heard someone tell me that at least in this country, in the United States, we tend to sacrifice our health to build wealth, and then we end up spending that wealth to regain, to a lesser extent,
Yes.
that same health. When you can kind of have your cake and eat it too with just a
Yes.
little bit of investment.
Yes.
And I'm talking about self-care. I'm talking about
Absolutely.
preventative maintenance. I'm talking about learning to listen to your body, to your symptoms, talking to someone who's maybe been there before, someone who could save you 7 years, something like that.
Exactly. Yes. So beautiful. So, what strategies do you use to empower clients whenever you have walked this journey? And what is it that you would tell yourself in your health journey that could have had profound impact and change or inspiration, motivation to you? And what would have been that single most important thing that you could appreciate and have impact your being during that time that you were going through your own health journey?
It's a great question. It's like if you could travel back and tell yourself this one thing, what would it be? And that's difficult because sometimes you have the right information for someone, but it's the wrong time. So giving someone the right information at the right time, that's where it's at. There's the bullseye. But if I were able to, back when I was type A, driven, determined to solve my problem in a week, it would be learn to respond instead of react. I'm going to break that down just a little bit. So I know that sounds like emotional regulation, and it absolutely is. But to a greater extent, this also applies to physical symptoms, to mental symptoms. If you slow down and think, what is my body telling me, and why would this come up? And learn to respond to that in a manner that unwinds this knot that you've kind of gotten stuck in. Instead of, as we mentioned before, information overload, throwing more things at it, numbing it, trying to smother it with some, cortisone shot, ibuprofen. Nothing wrong with it. Avoid misery, that's fine. But be working on responding and coming up with a plan to undo or to resolve that situation. So I think if I could time travel back and tell myself, hey, Chris, there are a lot of variables going on. You've got a lot of symptoms. You have a lot of doctors telling you some scary things. Let's do our best. It is very emotional, but let's learn to respond instead of react and chase every protocol under the sun for 1 week and get mad when it doesn't work and end up spending more time stuck on this vicious cycle. That is the biggest lesson I have learned through my health journey, is respond instead of react. And again, I know it sounds like something you would teach a toddler on, emotional regulation, but it is absolutely is applicable to to every aspect of health.
Wow. How beautiful. And so many aspects of our own lives too. I can think about it from like familial connections and within relationships, and just being able to show up more with that true centered approach. And so that's really beautiful, because the way that we interact with ourselves in the health journey, the respect that we show ourselves, the self-love that we show, and how we are giving away maybe that ability for us to intrinsically find that level of true health. It's so important that we're able to chase that down from a perspective of how are we actually showing up, and how are we truly being ourselves. It's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Learning to respond and give yourself some grace, and treat yourself as you would tell a friend to treat themselves.
Yes.
If a friend of ours talked to us like our negative self-talk does, we wouldn't go within 100 miles of them. Like we can be so brutal to ourselves when things don't go our way because we thought we were in control of every little thing. So yeah, well said.
So you have some very interesting perspectives on engineering, as we were sharing about your aerospace engineering brain and how intelligent this is. So from this perspective, what are some other inspirations that you have around electronics, electrical aspects of how we're all showing up nowadays? We're spending so much time on our phones, on our computers, inside, indoors. We're like disconnected from nature and from like the way that our bodies have evolved to be in a very healthy state. So what perspectives can you share, or inspiration, or even questions that have come to your mind that around some of those ways that we can still get back to our true nature, even in this digital era, this digital age?
It's a good question. Yeah, this is certainly a topic that I like to be very, very measured on. And I think we're at a point now, I'm sure I've said this before to you, but science and technology have gotten us in a lot of trouble recently when it comes
Yes.
to what your DNA expects. Let me say it that way.
Yeah.
What we're experiencing right now with cell phones and Wi-Fi and being indoors most of the day and never touching the gigantic capacitor we live on called the Earth. A lot of other things, like, it's very, very alien to your DNA. And I think it is causing an incredible amount of disruption. Even the invention of the light bulb, where now the sun never really sets on your brain, is a wild change to your DNA. So as far as electrical, magnet, all those things, what I would pose to people, and if you have any resistance to this, or this causes you to say, that doesn't make any sense, great. I'm glad that I was able to tap on something that maybe you haven't questioned yet. But I did say earlier this week on a call with Dr. Leila here that we shouldn't call it grounding when people are standing on the earth. We should call going inside your house insulated. That's actually the new thing we've invented. Putting on those rubber shoes.
Yes.
You're insulating. We've been grounding for hundreds of thousands of years. It's what your body expects. And it is measurable.
Right.
We are electric. How does an EEG work? How does an EKG work? I mean, tell me you're not conductive. You're in the bathtub. Are you worried about someone throwing a toaster in? You're electric. It affects you. Come on. There's some scary real life examples of why this applies. You are electric. You carry a charge. It's a factor. That's all I'm saying. It is a factor. I'm not saying it is the solution to every problem we've created or that people are in the midst of. It is a major factor.
Yes.
So just question it. Just be aware of it. The goal isn't to solve every problem today. In fact, your body hates solving every problem at one time. Big change. You go on a diet out of nowhere, a real strict diet. It's not going to feel very good. Slow it down. Make it measured. Slow down to speed up. Do less better. Whatever catchy quote you love to hear from me, I'm here to provide it. It's let's do it right the first time. Let's do it in a measured way. Let's make it achievable and realistic. Let me give you the background and information for you to know why you're doing it and that it actually does work. And this isn't just a TikTok video or something random you heard. This is real stuff that works. I don't do stuff that doesn't work. I need to follow up everything I say with that almost. So that's my response.
I love it.
Science and technology have gotten us in some pinches.
Yes.
But science and technology can also help us out of those pinches. I mean, they're coming up with, biologically, effective and adaptable lighting. They're coming up with grounding mats, and there's some nuance as to when and where to use those. But there are ways to get around some of these problems, but not all of them. And the solution is sometimes free and accessible. That's the coolest part.
Exactly. I love it. And even with lighting inside, whenever we're indoors and we're looking at this blue light that's coming in that's not native, and then we have the light bulbs that are so unusual to our nervous system. Even with lighting, there are things that we can do to help our nervous systems receive signals that is in more balance, in more flow. I remember I hopped on a call with you a couple of months ago, and you had on the little visor lights when it was shining in the lights from a full spectrum that we would get if we were out in the sun. So share a little bit about that perspective as well, because that's a way that people can help regulate their nervous systems to more balance just with simple solutions of activating the optic nerve in different ways and activating even our skin in different ways. So light.
Yeah, your body has an internal clock, whether you acknowledge it or not. And so light has a great way of starting that stopwatch each day. And as I would talk to with clients, a good night's sleep starts in the morning, the day, on that day, the morning of that day. Getting that time release, that delayed response melatonin to kick in when you want. It starts in the morning, and it starts with light. Yes. Your body recognizes light as the start of the day, as it has for a very long time. They even think that our eyelids are so thin that the sun would wake you up, that you will get full spectrum sunlight through your eyelids as you're sleeping, and then, oh, surprise, you're awake, sun's up.
Yes.
We are out and about during the day. So
yes.
yeah, there are solutions you can invest in or look into some type of full spectrum lighting, whether it makes you look like RoboCop like I did or not, that's up to you. But at the same time, you could step outside. I mean, even a cloudy day is, I don't know how many lumens. It's bright. You don't think it is. You want it to be blue skies, but still bright, still works. So there are technological solutions that might be 95% effective compared to the real deal, which is cool.
I love it.
Yes, to your point on the lighting, we are getting what we asked for at this point in time. We want cheap and fast. We want light bulbs that light up the room and do nothing else. And we have ignored the infrared, near infrared, heat aspect, that your body knows what to do with all of that. That's the full meal. That's the cookbook. That's what light is supposed to be. And we're saying, no, I just want it in this. I want it in this spectrum of nanometers for I want bright blue light so I can see my whole room at midnight, and I don't care about the other stuff. I want it as cheap as possible, and I want it to last for 20 years. Careful what you ask for. You're kind of playing God. You're playing Mother Nature there on something that was not perfect outside, or at least you've adapted to. So there's another comment on, going on a strict diet. You don't go outside anymore, and you only get this cheap light. Your body doesn't like that either. It's a quick change. We're not there yet.
Wow. I love it. I love this perspective. And yes, with light, it also is activating in the melanin cells and activating our own ability to produce like vitamin D and our serotonin to melatonin conversion and the neurotransmitters that we need for mood and for how we feel, how we actually are showing up in our lives. And if we're feeling like we're in a stable place and actually enjoying life, it's amazing how important it is for that sunlight to activate us, or for the full spectrum of light to at least support that conversion and that communication within our being.
Yeah. And I think the only thing I will add on top of what you just said is sunlight is so much more than vitamin D. I think vitamin D has gotten a lot of attention recently, rightly so. But sunlight is a lot more than vitamin D. And if you can get your vitamin D from the sun and everything else is providing, that's a good place to be.
Yes, absolutely. And every cell in our body actually activates with that light conversion. It's not just the melanin cells. It's very important that we are light bodies. So we're electrical bodies and we are light bodies. And we have to have this conversion, this communication, and this information coming in that's able to help with all of those different conversion factors and communication factors for us to have optimal functioning. Our cells know what to do. We just need to provide it with the right tools.
Yeah. It's like giving someone a steering wheel and telling them it's a car. The sun is the whole thing put together, that light, that unfiltered light. That's the whole car. And you still have to have some sensibility. You got to have some common sense. Okay. I'm not telling people to go outside and, tan for 8 hours a day and roast to a crisp. I'm saying be sensible. I mean, use common sense.
That's another perspective too, is going out and getting your circadian rhythm regulated with the morning sunlight can actually help with the tanning process for the middle of the day. For example, if you are able to catch that sunrise as it's coming up, your body's able to convert the omegas, the fatty acids, all of the other types of factors that it needs to protect the cells against sunburn if you then are tanning in the middle of the day. For example, you go out and you actually are catching the sunlight on your skin, broad daylight, right in the middle of the heat of the day. It helps with that conversion process so that your body knows what to do. And whenever we spend time indoors in this false information that's coming in from our lighting that doesn't tell our bodies that it should be able to convert that light properly, then it gets confused by that. So then where do sunburns, what's the actual source and root cause of sunburns? The conversion that's affected by that. Or worse yet, the toxins that we spread all over our skin whenever we put on sunblock or sunscreen, that then the body converts those toxins or holds on to and harbors those toxins. And then where is skin cancer actually coming from? It's not the sun's fault. It's
I would like to add to that as an aggressive melanoma experiencer, I will say, because I was diagnosed and had surgery for it and had to deep dive it myself because it picked a fight, right? I wanted to figure out what was going on there.
Yes.
Wearing polarized sunglasses when you are out in full sun tells your brain you're in a cave, but your skin is getting absolutely baked. It is so important for your brain, which is your eyes. Your eyes are your brain. It's so important for your eyes to know where you are. If you're going to be laying out, if you're going to be playing volleyball, it doesn't. Careful with how long you're wearing those sunglasses. It is telling your brain you're in a dark cave. It's telling your brain it's nighttime. And like you said on the sunscreen, cover the area, rub it until it's like absorbed. Did you hear the absorbed part? Where do you think it's going? Would you eat it?
Yes.
Because you just put it in your bloodstream. Be real careful with skin products. That's all I'm going to say on that for now. But be real careful. And again,
absolutely,
putting on sunscreen and thinking you're invincible doesn't sound like a good plan. You miss a spot, or you wear it every day and it kind of builds up, and I don't think we're thinking farther ahead than today sometimes.
So many toxins, and like to the point that even the ecologists and people that are protecting the earth are up in arms about what's happening to our oceans because of like the swimming with all the sunscreen and what's happening to coral reefs.
Right, it disrupts microorganisms.
Yes.
What are we?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
You spray pesticides on plants to kill bugs and microorganisms. What are we? Like, it's just,
we have trillions more cells of microbiome than we do of our own cells. Like, it's actually exponential amounts. And it's so important that these microbes are in the right balance for our own epigenetic expression, for our own communication signals, for the receptors to actually listen to the information of every single cell communicating. It's amazing how much impact it can have. And speaking about like the dangers of putting on these toxins of sunscreen, same thing for the makeup that women are wearing and like what we're using as just shampoo products, conditioners, and all of these products just soaking directly and absorbing directly in to brain, to the nervous system, to our bodies, and our bodies are having to try to dump out some of these toxins from somewhere. But how is it able to dump these out?
And there's no perfect, there's no I'm perfectly non-toxic situation. That's a bit of a pipe dream nowadays. So again, I think some people have these grandiose ideas of like, how am I going to switch my life from where I'm at now to this whatever non-toxic influencer I saw that makes it sound so like easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of money sometimes too if you have a lot invested in conventional products. But every little bit counts. To do the best you can. Progress, not perfection, is my attitude on that. And I'm going to ask you, I want to flip the script quickly at the very end. I don't know if anyone's done this to you yet on your own podcast. But I want to ask you, based on some of the health coaching stuff that I've described and kind of the way I go about things, and you'd mentioned that, it's been kind of refreshing to hear some of my perspectives.
Yes.
What have you learned from me the past few years?
I love it. Go back to the simple. Get back to just the truth that we all feel, we all know. It's very simple health principles. It doesn't require grandiose plan to bring complex mystery illness, chronic cases back to well-being. Just get to the foundation and keep it simple. I've had the honor of having so many referrals of the toughest cases from so many doctors, so many other practitioners that couldn't figure out these cases, and they send them my way. And I so many times would go down all these different rabbit trails with them and go to the research, go to the white papers and come up with new ideas, new solutions. And I'd come with all these plans and protocols and functional neurology exercises. And I'd be like, okay, we're gonna figure this out together. Let's do this. And so many times, let's just push half of that away and just say, let's listen to what your body's telling us. Let's listen to that information that's coming through and then give it a few simple tweaks, a few little building blocks, and get back to those foundational health principles. And that's where the magic occurs. That's where it's so easy for the mysteries to turn into miracles, because we're just getting to the foundations of true intrinsic healing.
Yeah, sometimes it has the potential to take that complicated, complex problem and actually maybe it still requires some targeted treatment or protocol.
Yes.
But now it's manageable, and now everyone sees it for what it is instead of trying to, keep track of 35 different variables when a few simple, again, not easy, simple
Mhm.
health habits, behaviors, new ways of doing things could really cut down the white noise, right? That
Yes.
information overload, that confusion, that everything's getting mixed up and jumbled.
Yes.
So yeah, great. Thank you for sharing that.
I
I was so
love
excited.
it.
I was really excited to ask that. I was like, I have to sneak this in. Flip the
I'm
script.
glad you did. Flip that script. Gosh, this has been such a wonderful pleasure and honor, of course, to have conversation with you every single time. Every time I have a conversation, I'm inspired and impacted, and I'm thrilled to get to share this with our audience. And this is the first of many episodes that we'll host together. And so I'm glad to share this perspectives, these messages, and I'm sure it's resonated with several of our audience members. So thank you for this time. I hope you all have a wonderful and inspired day, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode.
Great. Thank you.
What an amazing episode. Just learning how to create a blend of the foundations and pillars of health, along with inspiration and the true impact of what wellness means from an authentic and intrinsic standpoint. If you would like to reach out to Chris regarding health coaching and learn more about him, please visit our website, drleiladoolittle.com, or the Resonance Wellness clinic.com, and you can book online, schedule a discovery call, and learn more about how you can have Chris join you in your own health journey. We look forward to partnering with you if you're inspired, and if you'd like to just have a conversation with us and learn a little bit more about your unique needs that could be fulfilled by having a partner join you on your team that can help with accountability, inspiration, guidance, support when you might need it the most, then please feel free to reach out to us. We would be honored to collaborate with you in your journey towards wellness. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Resonant Life podcast. I hope you found our discussion insightful and empowering. Before wrapping up, I want to invite you to explore our resources available through Resonance Wellness. Visit our website to access a wealth of free content, including downloadable guides, insightful articles, and practical tools designed to support your health journey. We also offer a variety of programs and courses that delve deeper into functional medicine, providing you with personalized strategies and expert guidance. If you are interested in learning how to integrate these insights into your own life, I encourage you to book a discovery call with me. Together, we will explore how functional medicine can help you achieve your wellness goals and live a life of optimal wellness. Visit drleiladoolittle.com to download your free resources and schedule your call. I look forward to connecting with you and helping you on your journey to a more resonant and fulfilling life. Until next time, I'm Dr. Leila Doolittle, wishing you a day filled with resonance and vibrant well-being. See you in the next episode.